Welcome back to Brick Model Road on YouTube. My name is Glenn Holland. I'm joined today by Kale and our friend Richard Glatter from Brickprint Studios and Brickforge now. And we've got a very exciting product announcement, product discussion video today. Richard, go ahead and introduce yourself a little more.
Yes, I am Richard Glatter. I am the owner of Brickforge and Brickprint Studios. So, if you're not familiar with Brickforge, we make custom minifigure accessories, injection molded custom minifigure accessories. And then Brickprint Studios, we handle a lot of custom printing jobs, and we do all of the artwork printing for Brick Model Railroader.
Yeah, our T1s are in progress right now, and they've been looking really good so far. Really excited to
Yeah,
see that. Um, So we've got something that we've been working on for several months now, kind of off and on, but more
several
recently
several months. I think the last year.
yeah, it's probably right, and a lot of that's probably just raise my hand, say my fault, but um,
I wasn't
anyways,
gonna say that.
we're at the point now where we're ready to make the announcement, and so I guess without further ado, Richard, do you want to say what we have now, or should I, or who wants to say the words?
I'll let you say it.
All right. Well, we finally have a replacement for the Lego Train magnetic couplers that we have been using on, for example, all of the brick model railroad or rolling stock that we have. A number of other models. These are the magnets that were used during the 9-volt era. The ones that
Yeah,
are separable from the brackets, which clip into like a Technic pin connection. We have a replacement for those, and we've gone in a uh, pretty different direction from taking a very similar approach as the magnets. So what we've done is we've created a number of pieces which will take an O scale metal model train coupler and adapt it into the Lego system and allow it to be incorporated into numerous different truck designs for both passenger freight, incorporated into locomotives. Really, we think that any kind of a locomotive, bogie, truck, pilot, trailing, tender truck, freight, passenger, whatever you think that you can, whatever you kind of truck that you can build, we think we have a coupler adapter for it.
yeah. I've been trying them out on a number of BMR cars, and of the four different mountings that we have, at least one of them will work on each of the cars I've tried out so far. So we think we got a pretty good um, range of mounts to basically, facilitate mounting these couplers in just about anything you build.
We got a good variety of parts. We got four different ones, which are basically
Mm,
just built to allow different connecting styles and different. Each one produces a slightly different coupler height, but they all work within the Lego system roughly by changing the coupler height by the height of a plate.
yeah.
So,
You want me to
would
bring up the photos now?
yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea. And
All right.
so Richard is here with us to discuss all of this because we as in Brick Model Railroader have been working with Richard to produce these parts. He uh, with Brickforge has a really an extensive knowledge, or more extensive than mine at least, of injection molding, and we wanted to obviously, of course, go with injection molding for these parts, for these adapters, instead of something like a 3D printed element, because they'll last a lot longer and we'll be able to get a lot more mileage. Um, we're able to get a lot of mileage out of each mold that we make, and so you can see Kale's kind of flipping through the different pictures that we have
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
adapters so far.
Here's the four different adapters. Um, I don't remember what the names of them were offhand.
So the top row, the top left is what we're calling a 747Z. The reason so there's two different.
Yeah.
Well, I'll back up. There's two different styles. The top row is the 747. The bottom row is the 806. Those are numbered based on what KD couplers they used, even though the 806 they changed the number on it, which I think is like 813 now, but we're still calling it an 806. It's the same coupler part, just made in metal instead of plastic. So these are all used metal couplers from KD,
Hmm.
which is a pretty much just the standard of model train coupler manufacturing. So the
Yeah.
top row is a 747 style adapter, and the bottom row is the 806. Now on the right side is I'll go back to the other picture.
Sorry.
On the right side, you can see we've got a studded connection, which is we don't have any other name for that. It's just on the top is the 747, the bottom is the 806. On the left side, we have a tiled connection, which is a bit stronger, and those are intended to be our kind of standard use adapters for each of
Yeah,
those coupler
yeah,
designs.
the two on the right here are probably the ones we'll use most often in BMR cars.
Two on the
And
left.
then I'm sorry, yeah, two on the left. Yeah, these guys right here. Uh, and then the other two probably less frequently, although there are some cars we can use, some BMR cars we can use them on, and also, there's just gives you more options for locomotives where you might have a different kind of mounting situation. So
So the ones on the left, the top one is an what we call a 747Z, and the bottom is an 806Z, and the Z just kind of refers to the shape of the bottom adapter piece. And so all of these parts, when connected together, are exactly 2 plates high, not including the studs. So they work perfectly within the Lego system. They're quite easy to adapt.
yeah,
There's a rendering of some of the.
yeah, yeah. Here's the couplers from the side, so you can kind of
Mhm.
see the height of them and length and
And so
how
these
they might
are
mount.
these
Yeah.
are made in I made these into LDRAW part files, so we'll have these files available for digital modeling purposes, of course, for
Yes.
download. But yeah, they work. We've got so far we've got a bunch of the test couplers in from the Brickforge manufacturer, and I think I can speak for everybody and say that we're all pretty darn satisfied with them. Richard, do you want to share your thoughts there?
Oh, absolutely. We're very satisfied with the design. Glenn did all of the CAD design, along with we got some advice from Brickforge's CAD designer. We also got some advice from Scott Hoffmeyer from Brick Tracks. He kind of helped a little bit in the
Mm-hmm.
design phase and helped us with some things.
You mentioned
Um,
Scott. I want to point out real quick. We did part of the reason that we bring up Scott Hoffmeyer is because we actually did approach Scott initially because he was doing working on a coupler solution as well, and we approached him with and kind of told him about uh, the way that we wanted to move, which was the KD adapter rather than an injection molded knuckle coupler that is purely made to fit within into Lego Technic. And after talking with him about it, he gave us the go for it. It's one less thing for him to do essentially. So, um, but we do want to thank Scott Hoffmeyer especially for his advice.
Absolutely, absolutely. He was a big help.
Yeah.
Um, I I do want to take one little step back and make it very clear. We are selling Katie couplers with our own adapter plates.
Mm-hmm.
So when we actually sell this product, you're buying a Katie coupler and our adapter plate, all included in the packaging,
Hmm.
ready to go.
And it'll be one
Yep.
pair of them,
Fully.
so basically enough
Yep.
for one freight car, one for each
Yeah.
truck.
So one pair fully assembled, ready to go. You just click them onto your truck and boom, or your car or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and you're done.
Yeah, it's I can tell with everybody we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
We have been working
Yeah.
on this for a little while, and we're all really happy to finally get to this point of the design process, I guess you could say. The design's over. It's just the selling process, I guess now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we should say, so these are the way KD couplers work. Kale, if you want to go down to the disassembled photo there, that would help. We do want to
All
say,
right.
so we are selling these assembled, so you won't have to worry about that. But it is important to know, you can see
You thank us later.
yeah, yeah, it can be a little difficult, but we know how to do it now. We've assembled them enough times. So the way a KD coupler works is it's basically the regular coupler, and then it's got basically a shank, which will fit around a pin similar to the pins you see on the the bottom left and bottom middle right parts there. They fit around that, and then you can insert a spring between the pin and the edge of the slot on the coupler. And so what that allows the coupler to do is self-center. So it's kind of a bad example, and I know Richard doesn't like holding things up to cameras, but I'm pushing the coupler down and it's centering itself. And it'll work in any direction as long as it's assembled right. But of course, we'll confirm that it is properly assembled before shipping it out. But that was a really big concern initially with how we would design this product, because it's really difficult to center a coupler as you're trying to connect cars together. Like if they're not centered, you're just gonna end up doing this or this all the time. But now that they're centered,
Yeah,
you'll pretty much never have the issue. The cars will always couple. The couplers will always be centered, and you'll always get a really good a mate when you're operating and playing connecting cars together. So
and unlike magnetic couplers,
they take a lot of force to pull them
these
apart, and
don't come apart.
you're pretty much just gonna break the plastic apart before you break the connection of the cars.
Yeah, so no more having to put neodymium magnets between your magnetic couplers to run long 20-car 8-wide freight trains.
Yeah, that's
Yes, there will be no
that's
problem
good
with that.
news. Yeah, that's good
And
news.
even that gets iffy after about like 20-car 8-wide cars. They're
Hmm.
so heavy.
Yeah, you can. I think that we've done it enough in Penlug trying to run cold drags on the layout that we've separated probably like the back 4 or 5 cars at some points because they're all so heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I just wanted to mention about the coupler centering, so that's something that I'm probably the most excited about because um, uh, looking at some of the other couplers that I had seen from Scott before, is they didn't self-center yet, and it was an early design, so I'm completely confident that he would have come up with a solution for it. But it was kind of difficult to position the couplers right and then connect the cars together, rather than you can just set the 2 cars on the track and then slam them together. So
Yeah.
The other reason that we approached Scott and talked with Scott is we thought that our time would be better used trying to figure out the engineering on the self-centering and the adapter plates, as opposed to spending our engineering and design time designing a knuckle coupler.
hmm
Um, we've decided instead to use the model railroad industry standard KD coupler, which has been proven to
they're
work.
tried and true as can be.
Yes.
Yeah. Um, every like model railroaders tend to, even if a model car comes with knuckle couplers, often they will swap the manufacturer's couplers out for KDs because
They're
they
just
just
that
prefer
good.
the KDs. Um, yeah,
They're
KDs
just
are
that good.
are they're a very good coupler.
So yeah, that's a good point, Richard. We put all of our time and focus into just the adaptation of the KD part to the Lego system, rather than trying to engineer a coupler from the ground up that will work kind of in the Lego system, and even at that point, it probably wouldn't work as well. 'Cause I feel confident in saying that these work darn well, and I have yet to have a problem with mine.
Oh yeah. Um,
And when I was hanging out at Kale's last, we were spending a good part of the evening going over these, and I just sat there for a while, just coupling cars together, just repeatedly, and that was it's weird to say, but that was a lot of fun, just sitting there, just uncoupling and recoupling cars with
clink,
yeah, exactly, just doing that over and over again.
clink.
It definitely is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I did want to also say that I have tested these couplers on a train for hours running around a layout. We do wish that we could have run it at a show. Right now, we don't really think that a show is going to be possible with the
It might
current
be possible, but
COVID crisis.
definitely not a practical idea.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So we haven't been able to test in a show environment, but we've done some extensive testing at home. Like Richard said, he ran his train for several hours, just
Yes.
around and around and around, and no problems whatsoever, no
Through
decoupling, anything.
switches, in and out of switches, forward through switches, back through switches. R104s, R40s, R120 curves,
They'll take just about
R104
anything.
switches. It goes through it, and
Now, as long
yeah,
as you
no
don't
problem.
build your track or your road bed high enough in the center of the between the rails, which I don't know why you would, to activate the decoupling pin, you should be
If
fine. But we set
if your
when we were
if your yeah if your roadbed is above the top of the rails, if your ballast is above the top of the rails,
you're doing it
you've
wrong.
got more problems than the couplers.
Yes.
But we did.
as
That
long
was
as yeah, as long as whatever's between the rails is at rail height or below, these couplers will not you will not have any interference with the coupler
that
trip pins.
that was another one of the concerns when we were looking at once we had the design and we were trying to figure out more of the how do we sort of standardize the way that we incorporate these parts into our current truck designs and whatever we have for the future. We set the coupler height as such that it should be about a plate above the height of any rail that you run on, which should be more than enough clearance um, to roll over anything like the switch rails or any ballast that is, of course, at the railhead height or below. Um, so there shouldn't be any at all problems with that.
Yeah, and Richard actually came out with a screen share. Escape. What did I do? There we go. Richard designed an actual coupler height gauge based loosely on Katie's own coupler height gauge. So you can use this to make sure your couplers are mounted at the recommended height. And I don't know if you can see there. There's
Press
plenty
one
of
on your
room between.
press one on your computer. Should give you a perfect side view. Close enough.
Anyway, well, you can
that's
see
the standard coupler heights.
there should be at least a plate of height between the railhead and the trip pin. So
And if you want to mount them lower, you can just trim the trip pin a little bit. It's
yeah,
basically just a wire cutter, and you
or
can
you just have to bend them slightly.
or you can
You
do
don't
that
even have to
too. You don't
trim.
even have to use a tool.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, if you shouldn't have any problems with it out of the gate, but if you want to get really fancy and do some sort of like ridiculously low mount, you can bend or cut whatever you
yeah,
need. They're not
yeah,
hard to work with at all.
yeah. So you have options.
We're all trained guys. We do a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of
Yeah, we
cutting and a
we
little bit of
definitely
bending.
do. That's definitely true. Is there anything else that we missed so far? I can't think of too much else uh, other than maybe when we'll have these available.
I did want to mention one thing.
Sure, go ahead.
The decoupling. There is Katie does make a decoupler. We have tested it a little bit. As of this recording, again, we're still testing with the prototype parts. But we have tested it. It does appear to work. We have not, as of this stage, thrown the magnet underneath 3 layers of plates to see if they still work. But
yeah, that would be the real challenge.
You'll likely need a pretty strong magnet, I would think.
right.
Neodymium.
But currently,
Neodymium.
the regular KD magnet decoupler does work.
So that's something
Not under plate.
right.
That is something
But
we're going to continue to test, but we wanted to at least throw that out there.
So if
Yeah,
you
it
want to
may
mess
work.
around with it, you can do that too.
yeah.
Yeah, we are. That is
Absolutely.
something that's kind of on our horizon, I guess, moving forward, is looking farther into that. We kind of wanted to just get the couplers done first, or the
Yes.
adapters done first, so that those who wish can start uh, changing over the couplers in their collection. Like I've got X amount of cars behind me. I don't even remember at this point, but I'm going to change all of those to the KD couplers because, well, I'm biased, of course, but I think they look better and they'll definitely operate better than a magnet.
Same here. I'm the operation more than anything. I'm excited about being able to couple cars together and not have to worry about them coming apart because the magnets just are too weak. That's such that alone is just going to be great, and they do look good. I know some people probably it might take some people to warm up to them because they're not considered
kosher.
they're not considered Lego alike.
But it's not a clone either.
Yeah, it's not a clone. I think honestly, I think they look actually really good on a car.
I agree. One thing that I did actually forget to mention is that the coupling distances between cars is pretty much unchanged. Basically, the way that we have mounted the magnet and bracket on a lot of the brick model road or freight cars in the past, if you basically just drop in the KD adapter for that, the distance between the cars is pretty much unchanged.
Pretty close. Some of them you might have to change the truck a little bit, and we'll for adapting the KD for adapting the KD coupler, these KD coupler adapters to BMR trucks. We'll have instructions on how to do the conversions on the various trucks that we've truck designs that we've come out with for our premium instruction models. We'll have those available to anyone who wants them. Probably download.
Else we missed yet?
Yes.
I don't think so. Covered design. We covered the product itself. Covered all the little details. I guess we just.
I did want to say one more thing about switching over your fleet.
Go for it.
And that's going to get to the release and price and all that fun stuff.
Sure.
But the switching over your fleet, there is absolutely no reason that you need to switch over your entire fleet at once.
Yes.
You can absolutely use magnets on one end and KD on the other, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
You can make an adapter car with a magnet on one end and a KD on the other, and then
actually you can make 2 adapter cars with 1 pack.
Yes, you can.
So you don't have to use the same adapter car actually.
How convenient. But yeah, so you don't. Yeah, that is a good point. You don't have to switch over your fleet all at once. You can do it incrementally over time.
So now I guess time to talk about release date.
Yes.
So that's probably
tomorrow.
No, I wish.
No.
I wish.
So we're not. It's definitely the way that we led into this makes it sound like it's like next year, but it's definitely not. We're in the final stages of the mold making process. Would that be correct to say, Richard?
We're in the final stages of the mold making process. We have had 2 tests done. 2 test shots I have received.
One
of
better
the mold
than the other, but that's just in the nature of making sure that everything's good when we start shipping these to customers, rather than we have a problem 6 months from now.
Yeah, ask anyone who's designed a molded plastic product whether or not their first test shot was perfect.
Ask Scott from Brick Tracks, he'll tell you.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't know how many iterations of the R104 switch he's at right now, but it's quite a few. It's quite a few.
But, to put it concisely, I guess the best estimate for release date for all of these parts will be late summer 2020. We believe that'll give
Yeah.
us enough time to finalize the mold. We'll of course have to do a little bit of packaging work, which is by comparison not as much of a commitment. But those are we're definitely, I would definitely say that we're winding down on the to-do list, if you will, to get these finally out the door.
Yep, where we are, just so it's clear, where we are, we're recording this video on June 23rd, 2020, and where we are right now, we've had the second set of molds, second test shots in, and we're just finalizing a few details to make everything as perfect as we can,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where we are. The end of summer is to allow for any sort of issues, us to get everything as
Anything
well as they can.
unforeseen.
Anything unforeseen. Hopefully, it's before then, but we are sticking with end of summer. But we will, of course,
Yeah.
keep you up to date.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to just throw a date out there and then have to backtrack on it.
Yeah.
Um, just because you don't know how these things will go. Hopefully, the next test shot we have will be good. Hopefully, it'll be perfect and we can go right into production. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the nature of designing a product like this. So we're getting much closer. We know the design works and
Yes.
it
It
works really
definitely
well.
works.
At this point, we're basically just making sure that the mold gets tweaked properly to make a consistent quality product.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that covers just about everything that we need to talk about in this video. Of course, I'm sure there'll be other details that we can mention down the road. Um, but unless anybody has anything else that they wanted to mention, I guess I can go ahead and wrap up.
I think that covers everything. I can't think of anything else.
Richard, got anything?
I just wanted just to summarize the product one more time.
Go for it.
When you're purchasing these products, you're purchasing a pair of our adapter plates and Katie couplers,
Assembled.
um, assembled and already ready to go. As Kale is showing, that is what you will
Yeah.
be buying.
Yes.
We are still
No.
working on finalizing pricing, and that's
It'll
where
be
we're going to
better
say
than
on
it'll
pricing.
be better than you think for pricing.
Yes,
We're we're,
yes,
we're pretty happy with what we think we can sell these for.
yes, absolutely. It will be reasonable. It won't be absurd. Um,
Yeah.
we know that some people have a lot of cars to switch over, so we want to
Kale
try and
does.
keep things. So we want to try and keep the prices reasonable as we can.
Hmm.
Um, but it does cost us some money to manufacture these parts.
Of course.
We do have to purchase the Katie couplers,
Hmm.
so there are some costs involved.
And
But
assembly
Yeah,
time, of course, too.
and assembly time.
assembly time, and we're trying to make a good quality high end product for the Lego train market. So
Absolutely.
Exactly. I would say that you get what you pay for. You will definitely get what you pay for.
yeah,
Even hopefully even a little bit more than what you pay for.
yeah, and we're pretty confident that these couplers will last you know a lifetime.
Yes.
That's the hope, anyways. I've yet to see a metal Katie coupler fail in operation.
Well, I'm sure they do.
Oh,
I can tell you that they're pretty strong. I had my reefer equipped with the cars, and it took a dive off the table with the Cadies, and the Cadies did not break.
Oh, so you're fine in the case of an earthquake.
or in the case of cats.
There you go.
But yes, the Cadies survived. The car had some parts missing, but the Cadies didn't make it. Made it out pretty unscathed.
Well, that's
I was
good.
surprised.
Yeah, I would again. I definitely think I can speak for everybody. We're happy with what we have. Um, definitely happy with what we have as far as the quality is concerned. We're definitely happy with what we have as far as the operation of the part is concerned. Um, the only just literally the only thing right now is just finalizing the mold, and that's just the nature of producing an injection molded
Injection
product.
molded part. It
Exactly.
takes some time to
Mhm.
get things dialed in exactly right.
Mhm.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I think Richard, you got your final summary. We got
Yep.
projected timeline and everything. So I guess with that, unless there are any last minute addendums, thanks to everybody for watching. Richard, thanks for joining Kale and I today. This has been quite an awesome little adventure to produce these design and produce these couplers. Took a while, but I think we're all pretty glad that we did it and uh, happy with our efforts and excited for finally getting them in everybody's hands. So thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to check out Richard at Brickprint Studios and Brickforge. He's got a lot of really awesome stuff for sale on his website, and I know that there's only more cool stuff to come from Richard. And definitely, I definitely, as a personal note, I definitely recommend Brickprint Studios. I've used them for one of my models, and I have plans to use him again for another two of my models. Plus, um, print work is exceptional, and I have no problems with it. And I know the print work on the T1 locomotives is going to be just as good, if not better. So,
Yes.
Richard,
Thank
again,
you.
thanks for
Appreciate
joining
that.
us. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Richard, again, thanks for joining us, and we'll wrap it up there and talk to you everyone later.